want you to connect with this being's energy and let me know if this is happening, it's taking place.
Yes.
And can you tell me who this being is next to you?
Mhm. Yes. It's her higher self.
Your higher self, yes. Thank you. And our intention for this connection is to find the root cause of her anxiety, this anxiety that may be crippling her due to an energy of perfectionism that does not allow her to move forward in certain areas of her life. And also find if there is a connection with that in regards to her overindulgence. And we will ask a few questions. But for now, the first question is, where does her anxiety stems from?
Getting the feeling of a father figure, perhaps being critical. It's from childhood. And I
Okay.
also received she cares too much about what others think of her. And earlier I had received she can't sleep because she's too worried about the future.
Go deeper into the anxiety and her father figure. When she was a child and she cares too much about what others think, can you tell us a little bit more about the connection and the relationship between the father figure and herself and how she can move on from this?
I'm seeing a basketball hoop,
Okay.
and it kind of looks like there's like a huge worm on it. I'm getting the feeling that it had to be exact, like she had to make it in the hoop. The target, it had to be exact. And I got this feeling of her just feeling a little bit awkward in childhood, just really being concerned with other people's opinions, not being really comfortable in her own self.
Hmm. It's interesting that you said, you have this basketball, but there's this huge worm right on top of the ball. And the worm, it really teaches us how to remain grounded, flexibility. And it also symbolizes transformation. So it's is really here to teach her about life lessons and being a little bit more flexible in her life. I- Is there anything else that comes up for you?
I just get this feeling that her father could have been a strong, like somewhat of a strong personality. I don't know if he was directly like overbearing, but there's something there that taught her to be a perfectionist, his expectations. Um, and then I also want to share before this question was asked, her higher self was sharing a few visuals. I saw her standing in the mountains wearing a gown,
Hmm.
and there was an elephant next to her. And then at one point, I saw her mounting a horse.
Hmm.
And I just got this feeling of her higher self. Um, being very content in that landscape, or like overlooking the valley, and almost got this like shamanic vibe. Um, and then I was being shown, I don't know if it was an earring, but it was like a hoop and a pendant that was kind of like a diamond. And I was just seeing long nails like holding this.
So I want to go back to the elephant and the horse against the mountain landscape. Are you saying that there she is at her element, or there she should be a little bit more connected to the mountains and the open landscape?
Yeah, yeah, her true element. Like that's how she really is at her core, at her highest self.
Okay.
Um, I feel like she has a connection with animals.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like these are her spirit animals showing up. Yeah, and it feels like in her highest self, she embodies this um shamanic energy. Like I just see her smiling, very content, of like standing on this. It looks like a cliff, and there's like a valley, but she's standing there very sturdy and content in her body posture and just smiling. And I'm seeing like high cheekbones and like defined features, like very beautiful. And yeah, it just yeah, that's her higher self showing like that's who she is at her, in her highest self.
At her core.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's beautiful.
Oh, and then I also wanted to share that the gown that she was wearing, it had a significance to it. It was like pink,
Okay.
pinkish purple. Um, uh, it felt like it was like a ceremonial gown. Like there was a connection with that to that shamanic energy.
Is she asking her to go to and visit the mountains so she can receive the energy from the mountains or this open landscape?
I'm hearing clear mind. So
It
it
will
feels like if she visits there, it could help her clear her mind,
beautiful. Okay.
and connect with that energy more.
Hmm.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like it could be good for her, but I feel like she could also do it through visualization.
She can. Okay.
I'm hearing shamanic drums that could also help connect
Drumming.
with that energy. Yeah, just
Hmm.
just even playing an audio of shamanic drums. Um, I saw her higher self picking up her inner child, and I get this feeling that as a child she was restrained, like she had certain boundaries or limitations placed on her where she felt like she could only exist within those.
Hmm.
Like again, very like things had to be exact. Her higher self is asking her to nourish that inner child and to really connect with it and soothe it and ask herself why those limitations are there, because it's just a pattern she learned from childhood.
So take a deep breath in and see if this pattern, boundaries of doing certain things in a certain way, perfectionism, stemmed from another life. like from the root cause. Yes, it may have been extended into this life. So take a deep breath in and see what her higher self says.
I'm seeing cowgirl boots, and like I almost get this sense of her throwing out a lasso. So it feels like she could have been feel her like I'm seeing her sitting on, I think like either it's a cow or a horse. But yeah, it feels like she was very connected to animals in that life. And she was like herding animals, and things just had to be precise with how she took care of them, washing them, preparing things. I'm seeing a cow with horns. Discipline, where that comes from is having to take care of all of these other animals to have the farm run.
Because if it wasn't that way, then perhaps maybe she would lose her, and that was her way of income. That was her.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I'm going to ask, does she need to experience this energy of perfectionism or disciplinary any longer? Is it really benefiting her in any way now in this life?
Mm. I'm feeling like a choking feeling on my throat. So I feel like it's really restricting her. Like there may be too many things in place, um, like in her schedule, where she doesn't feel like she can actually relax and have like do things spontaneously. And I feel like there's a lot of chores, a lot of to-do lists.
So, with that in mind, what does she need to release, resolve, and let go in order for her to unravel this pressure that she created for herself?
I I get the feeling that it's linked to survival, to income, and it comes from that past life. It's a subconscious pattern where she feels that if things are not done at a proper time in a proper way, that she's going like it's going to affect her survival in this world. Yeah, it's linked to like financial worry.
I'm going to ask her higher self if it can assist her release this and can that be healed right now? And if not, how can she take the first step to do so?
Yeah, her higher self wants to come in and do a healing. I'm seeing a tulip flower, and it's closed, like it's a bud, and it's purple and white. Yeah, I'm seeing her higher self waving like a magic wand all around the stem of this flower, like all the way down to the roots. So it's healing that inner child pattern
Beautiful.
and even going deeper into the subconscious to the past life. And I feel like the bud represents her being like restricted and closed off currently. I feel like I'm seeing it as gold energy, like swirling around the stem of this flower, going to the roots. It feels like it's revitalizing the roots of this flower. And I feel like it's helping petals to open up slightly more, to let the sun in, let the carefree energy in. Yeah, I'm also getting the feeling like she's been very used to walking in a lane, like I'm seeing strict like boundaries marking this lane, like that's my lane, that's the lane that I walk in. And this healing energy right now is kind of encouraging her to step out of those limitations and boundaries a little bit more, and step out of her comfort zone, try things a little differently.
What's something that she can do differently in the physical plane?
I'm seeing her like sitting on a porch or a swing, like outdoors, seeing grass and sunlight, and her sipping on tea, and it feels very relaxed. Like she's just taking time for herself to just not do anything and to just be with herself and just be present, enjoying nature. It feels like this is morning time, so maybe she could incorporate that in the morning. And right before I saw that, I was also seeing her writing a lot of things on a to-do list. And then that other visual came in of her just relaxing and starting her morning off by just like sipping on tea and just being present and just watching nature for a bit.
So she can put relaxing into her to-do list.
Perhaps her to-do list is how she currently starts her day. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of that, she could just start by sitting outdoors for a bit
Mm-hmm.
and just taking time for herself.
Just let me know when the healing is complete.
Yeah, I'm seeing the petals really open now on this flower. And I get the feeling that there's going to be some subconscious seeds that have been planted for her that will kind of get her to think about things in a different way. Yeah, it feels complete, but it feels like it's going to be ongoing for her and her subconscious.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. The next question is, now that we found the root cause, and there was healing involved, will this affect her overindulgence in sweets and other activities currently happening?
The sweets, she might naturally feel this pull to just not um, indulge in them so much anymore. Like that's that desire I feel is going to be significantly decreased. Her energy has gotten calmer, more relaxed, more in tune with herself. So that indulgence was acting as something that she used to fill that void of not having connection with the self and having that anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but with this healing that's been done, I'm sensing a calmer energy to her, like more integrated in herself. So she doesn't need those sweets as much, like that desire isn't there so much anymore to um, sort of escape through them. I'm seeing her sitting in bed reading a book before night, like before sleeping. So I'm getting the feeling of like these relaxing activities being put in place into her schedule, and that really help ground her and keep maintain that connection with her being.
Is there a message her higher self wants to share?
I'm seeing her outdoors, like wearing this long flowy dress, and it feels like she's swinging on a tire swing, just really carefree, like really, like not a care in the world, just really relaxed and very content. Like she knows things are working out for her, and the sunlight is shining on her, and it's just this beautiful feminine energy of her just really being in her own.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I feel like that's where her higher self is guiding her to be in her day-to-day experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I'm seeing her just like throwing her arms back as she's on the swing and just like riding along with it. And there's full trust.
Trust and following her guidance.
Yeah. I just want to say
Mhm.
one more thing. I just saw a clock. So I feel like maybe she's worried about time. And I feel like the message is to trust the timing.
That's a very significant message for all of us.
Yeah, it feels like there may be a waiting period.
Mhm.
Ooh, um, just got chills, and I'm seeing like a bouquet of flowers, and she's just being asked to ride the wave and trust the timing.
Any other message before we close the session?
No, I think that's everything. I'm just being shown her higher self again on that mountain cliff, in that shamanic energy again, and she's holding the staff, like a wooden staff. The energy really feels like she knows herself. She's in this relaxed feminine authority of knowing herself and her own magnificence.